Alright, here's this week's update. I'm not sure if this is week 42 or 43. We're getting pretty close to a year. And I was looking over some of my older videos, and it's pretty amazing how far this whole aquaponics thing has come for me. I guess this tomato plant is the best representation of that. I know I've mentioned this before, but this thing is just huge. I was able to harvest one tiny little tomato about 3 days ago. But as you can see, I've got a couple more. Definitely one that's ready to be pulled off, and this one I'm going to try to wait a couple days, but this thing is just full of tomatoes. I am going to try to get these suspended, because otherwise, as you can see, this thing's just falling upon itself. It's just so massive, and I'm going to try to trim it down as well. But all the tomatoes are coming out pretty good size. But I definitely need to do something, because it's gotten so big that even my kale plants definitely are not getting enough sunlight. So I'm going to have to change that. And in fact, this plant is taking up a lot of room in this little area that I built. As you can see here, about the only thing left that's growing besides those kale are the, I do have that pecan tree little seedling, I guess you would call it, that I put in here about, a couple, 2-3 weeks ago. It's got some new growth right here, right here. I haven't checked to see if it's rooted, but I'm pretty sure it is based on the way it's growing. I'll probably end up having that continue to grow in here until it gets big enough for me to transplant outside. So you're probably going to be seeing that as a staple in any further videos that I make. You can see over here, I'm going to have to trim some of this too. This is all new growth right here. See how bright green it is? And besides that kale, the only other thing I have left is this cucumber plant, which is definitely growing. Probably from the last video, it's grown about 18-20 inches in length. But I have been noticing that any of the cucumbers that I've had in here, they don't seem to be, I have quite a few, but they seem to be shrinking up. Right now I have about 8 or 10 on here. To give you an example, here's a few that just kind of shrunk down. Meanwhile, on the same outgrowth, I have a couple more popping up. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. It's definitely getting enough sunlight, and it's getting enough nutrients. So I'll update you on the status on the next update. So that's about it from the aquaponics in here. I'll pause here and let you check out a little bit more of what may not be directly aquaponics, but is directly linked to my aquaponics, since most of these plants I started off here growing and I moved them on outside, so you can check and see how well they're doing. Plus, I'm using the same water to water those other plants. So I'll pause for right now. Back outside here, and this is the upside down garden that you all have seen if you've watched any of my other videos, and it's just doing great. But a plant like this is probably a jalapeno plant. This started off in aquaponics, as did these Mexican onions. And this is another one of those Mexican onions. And they're just doing great. I have these chili plants that, I don't know, I'm not seeing too much difference. They seem to be staying about the same size. So, continue to keep an eye on them, but for some reason they don't seem to be getting any bigger. This tomato plant I started off in aquaponics, and even though it's small and it's kind of battered from the high winds that we've been having these last few weeks, as you can see, it's got a whole bunch of little tomatoes on it. Now, as far as jalapenos, this thing is giving me some hope. This plant here, I planted it last year, gave quite a few very, very hot jalapenos, and I moved this whole unit inside my little grow area for the winter. And even though all the old leaves kind of yellowed up and fell off, you see there's a whole lot of new growth. I don't see, yeah, there's a few flowers in here. There's one here, one there. So it's going to be giving up some more. Another flower here. Be giving some more peppers here shortly. And this is another one of the tomato plants I started off inside of my aquaponic, and this one's doing really well. It's kind of protected from the wind, but it hasn't got much taller, but it does have 3 little tomatoes growing on it and more flowers. And then we're back here to the coffin garden. Almost all these came from the aquaponics. More Mexican green onions. Here's one of the kale plants, and you guys have seen these. These are doing just really, really well, much better than they were doing in the aquaponics. But these are the celery, those leftover celery stalks that I replanted in the aquaponics. Now, granted, while they're in the aquaponics, they got quite a bit taller, and they were larger, but I mean, I meant in actual size of the plant. But I'm noticing out here, the leaves are very green, and they're just got a better texture and they're thicker. And they're starting to be quite a bit fuller. And we got a lot of new growth coming from the middle. So hopefully, next couple months I'll be able to start pulling some of those off and using them in soups and, you know, other types of food. Now this is just amazing, because I've been pulling off leaves probably about every 3 days. This is a lettuce plant that I started from seed in my aquaponic garden. And these are all other little seeds that I dumped in here. So I'm going to be neck deep in lettuce fairly soon. And these are the 2 shoots. This is one shoot that comes directly off there. This is the other. So you see, this is really strange. And here I have some garlic. I planted some cloves in my aquaponics, and they sprouted, and they're doing really well. You know, as it goes, these things just gets new leaves. They get a little bit longer each time, and the outer layers yellow up, shrivel up, dry, and then new ones pop right back out. There's a couple of the chili plants that start off my aquaponics. As you see, they are doing really well in here as compared to the ones that are in their own planters. Now, I'm not sure if this has anything to do with it, but these are ones that I'm experimenting in the air pruning. So that's really the only difference. These are the same age and planted the same time as the other. jalapenos. So keep an eye on that and see if it continues growing that way. I guess we'll pause for right now and I'll show you how the fish are doing. Alright, we're over here with the fish. Let me turn off the air pump so we can see the fish a little bit better. As you can see, they have grown. I mean, the bluegill, they've gotten just a little bit longer, but they've definitely gotten fatter. And if you could see down at their bottom, here he comes, a catfish. He is the biggest fish in here. Definitely the king. And he's gotten not just quite a bit longer, but definitely fatter. Now I've been feeding these guys. I started off feeding some crickets for a couple weeks. I've been feeding them super worms, which are a beetle larva, for a little over a month. I ran out of those, and I've gone back to feeding them earthworms. I have a earthworm farm, I guess you would call it. So I dig up some earthworms every day and feed them, and they go absolutely crazy. Now another thing I've tried, because the catfish definitely loves it, I guess he doesn't really care, but I've had some catfish in the freezer from previous fishing expeditions, and I've been chopping some of them up, dropping them in there, and he eats them up. He doesn't seem to care. And he seems to be pretty happy with that. None of the other fish seem to be too crazy about that. But like I said, he doesn't care. I take it back. The crawfish, who was down in that tube down there, he also loves the crawfish. He'll pop out, I mean the catfish bits. He'll crawl out of his little tube and grab some scraps and pull them back in. But you know, these guys are what's keeping everything growing. So, and aside from the gardening, you know, definitely very relaxing. So I try to keep them happy and well fed. So that's about it on this update. But I thought you all would like to see. I'm really happy about the tomato plant in there, and just wanted to show it off a little bit. As usual, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it, and you know, subscribe if you like the videos. I'll keep them coming. And as usual, if you have any questions or comments, leave them, and I'll try to get back to you and answer any questions you might have. So appreciate it, and until next time, thank you.